Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Concerts at Home beginning in 2021. And we're going to start off right off with my friends forever, Joanne and Gavin Martin. And we found a video that we're going to play for you. I didn't know we had recorded this piece, so this was a big find. Thank Ben Mass for that. And this is the 39th episode of Concerts at Home. So nearly 40. Guys, I'm just thinking we've known each other for 30 years. Because Joanne, I met you just when my eldest daughter, Erin, was about to be born. Wow.
So. I remember well.
30 years of stuff, guys, and there's been lots of stories, lots of things have happened together.
Some not repeatable.
Yeah, I've got the delete button here ready at the go. So, yeah. But you guys are looking very happy. You're outside. Is this you're outside at home?
We are outside. We're having this lovely heat wave in Southern California. We're very lucky. It's January, but we can be outside.
Yeah, I just got back from Belfast or Newton Ards.
I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing any outside interviews in Newton Ards, let me tell you. So, so let's go back a bit, guys. So, Joanne, you were the first piano player for Camerata Pacifica.
I was.
And together, you guys have played a whole bunch of concerts together for the Camerata. So
we have.
So let's get some stories going. The reason I'm interviewing you is that they don't want to hear from me.
Stories?
Say something smart and witty.
Smart and witty.
Smart and witty. I'll leave that to him.
It's too early in the day. I haven't had any beer yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I got to know you after Joanne did. I think you and Joanne did a lot of those kids shows in schools with banging pots and blowing bottles and all that sort of stuff.
Right. We did. It was fantastic.
And so I already knew a lot about you from then. And
Joanne had to translate for the kids because the kids couldn't understand what I said.
He says house. I say house.
Sound.
Sound. The thing about making sound, sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did well. We did well.
All those kids were like little dogs. They were like,
Anyway, go ahead.
And then we've done two piano. Joanne was your mainstay pianist in the beginning, and we did some two piano stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
various programs.
Yeah, and then we really became buds through skydiving for sure.
Oh
a lot of stories there.
Oh yeah.
That added a whole extra level to everything. Life, our friendship.
Yeah. So that's right. There were so many stories, and I was looking back. I found some photographs, which I'm going to put up right now because
we found some. Sorry.
We both celebrated our 40th birthday. Talk about that.
That year, whatever that year was, which shall remain nameless.
There's been a lot of water over the falls since then.
Talk about that. Oh, wow. That trip? Oh, it was a trip of a lifetime. 22 people from all over the world doing our dream base jump off the tallest waterfall in the world in Venezuela. My future boss, Gustavo Dudamel, was really enchanted with that. It was one of the first things I shared with him, actually. Because, I'm proud of it. Not only was it great fun, but it's kind of cool to know that we experienced something like that. And I'm extremely grateful. I think we both are, that we had the opportunity. And yeah.
So I'm going to show some photographs as you're speaking, but describe what we did because it was superb. So we flew up, we were like, tell everybody what we did.
It was incredible. It was an 8 or maybe 10-day trip. I forget, a week, a little more than a week. And we flew to Caracas. We spent a night there. We met these wonderful jumping colleagues from all over the world and all different levels of experience. And let's face it, the three of us, we were at the low end as far as doing that jump.
We were green. We only had, what, 500 jump minimum at that time, I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it 150? I forget.
500, and we were pretty much there.
I didn't know 500.
No, I think it was 150 minimum at that time.
Oh, I thought it was
500 jumps to jump off the falls, and we didn't.
Absolutely.
We'd maybe 150 or 200.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow. It's it's hard to find the words to describe that experience.
It was a great trip. We camped at the base of the falls on an Indian camp there, and it was really magical. We had a Russian Mi-8 helicopter take us to the top, and
that thing. Oh boy, did Adrian Spence love that helicopter! It was amazing. It took all 22 jumpers and all our gear all at once. It really was a hauler.
Yeah.
And wow, just to even take a helicopter ride to the top of that thing, what a privilege, because most tourists in the area only get to fly by the falls and kind of look at it from a distance from an airplane, or they're in a boat on the river looking up at it. But we were able to get up close and personal and launch ourselves off it, and wow, land in a very, very small landing area.
It was a scary landing area.
That was scary. It wasn't scary to go off the edge, and I guess jumpers would understand that, non-jumpers wouldn't. For me anyway, I guess everyone's experience and attitude towards it is different, but I was not afraid at all to go off the edge. I couldn't wait, but I had trepidation about landing in that tiny landing area, but we all made it without breaking anything.
Yep. And then
always a plus.
And then drank Venezuelan rum in the river underneath.
We certainly did.
Where I made good friends with a Scottish guy called Bobby Murdoch, if you remember.
Bobby!
You're still friends with him?
No, I've lost touch with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to be quite a while until we travel something like that again. So, cool. Crazy. What is it meant for, I mean, especially for orchestral players, Joanne? What has this meant for you folks down at the Phil?
It's, of course, it's been quite a shock. I mean, I still remember the day in March that we were to have a program for school kids that morning, one of our Toyota Symphonies for Youth programs, and we had already done it maybe 1 or 2 times in the previous several days, and then we received emails and calls to just not report for work that morning. And, of course, this whole thing had been brewing and we knew something was going to happen. But wow, even then, I don't think I imagined that here we would be, 10 months later, still not playing. And to not have had a Hollywood Bowl season, that was tough. Emotionally, of course, financially. Major blow for the organization, and just missing the Hollywood Bowl in particular, because that's something that's always so joyous, and the crowd is almost 18,000, and just that collective joy that we feel there, and sharing this music with our audiences. It's took a while to get over the shock, and then, like every organization, they tried to revamp, and we have a pretty strong online presence at the moment. I've participated in several Green Umbrella new music projects, and of course, smaller versions of the orchestra did record some pieces with Gustavo Dudamel on the podium at the Hollywood Bowl. We were allowed to do that because it's an outside venue, and with the proper distancing and safety protocols. We were able to do several sessions in the last 6 months or so, and some of them are still being released gradually.
Yeah, they also did a world premiere of an Thomas Addis piece, which I played on too.
Yep, Gavin was on several
things. It was pretty cool. They had drones besides cameramen running around, and
yeah,
it was surreal.
The big word has been pivot this year. Everyone has pivoted and reinvented themselves, and the Camaradas. This series is wonderful too. I bet we've watched a lot of these, and it's great to wake up on a Sunday morning and share the music.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, and the Phil, I think, has done better than many other orchestras. I mean, some of the stories that we're hearing across the country and across the world are dreadful.
Yeah, you feel very blessed.
And then, yeah, I hope we can start to emerge from this in the latter half of the year. I hope we're going to have some sort of season. But I'm planning on starting Camerata season up in October.
Fantastic.
But of course, we need to have permission from the virus to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, the LA Phil also raring to go.
Yeah. So when did you start with the Phil? It was about 2000, right?
2001.
2001. So
in the
you
summer.
were hired by Esa-Pekka Salonen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was about halfway through his 17-year tenure with the orchestra.
Oh, so you got to play with them for I just couldn't remember all those times. What? So when did Dudamel start with the orchestra?
Oh, that would be about, I got to get this right, maybe 12 years ago?
Crikey, that time has flown past.
Yeah.
I remember you being excited. Everybody was really excited when he came on the scene.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I
So
mean,
you both toured with him. You played with the Phil quite a lot too, Gavin, right?
Yes, I do a lot of second keyboard stuff when it's required.
Yeah. And so, tell us Dudamel stories, guys. Come on, this is what people are tuning in.
I'll tell you, when Dudamel first showed up, he found out Joanne and I had been to Angel Falls, and Joanne had jumped off the waterfall. And his nickname for her, before he even remembered her name, he used to call her my Yumpa, as in jumper. My Yumpa, play a little louder, my Yumpa.
His English is better now. Yeah, I mean, Gustavo, he's a huge presence on the podium. He's just a joy to play under. I like to say he can convey with one eyebrow, get something out of a musician with one eyebrow that it takes maybe some other people, their whole bodies. He's just a natural, beautiful presence on the podium and a lovely guy too. He's a wonderful guy.
Everybody seems to, the musicians all seem to just enjoy his company, and he seems to make himself available to everybody.
He does.
And that's going to affect the music making, I think, right? I mean, when you've got that sort of morale boost in the orchestra.
Absolutely.
So what are your so when you've been doing trips together, what is your most memorable tour as when you're both there with the Phil? Where have you gone that you've had the best parties? I'm not interested in the concerts. What are the best
parties?
Actually, one of the most interesting trips was to Venezuela.
Yeah.
And it was a very different trip to our Angel Falls trip. We had police escort everywhere. We were in Caracas the entire time. And one day we had a day off, and Gustavo told everyone, "I'm taking you to a rum farm." We said, "What?" Anyway, it turns out one of his best friends owns this distillery, which is really, really, really famous in Venezuela. They make a dark rum, Santa Teresa. And we spent the whole day on there. They had these giant spits with suckling pigs on them for lunch, but of course it wasn't ready. It was like 3 hours later, but we started to drink and just drank and drank, and it was a fantastic day.
It was wonderful.
They didn't play the concert that night.
No concert.
No, and we ended up back at the hotel, and they gave us all free bottles of rum to take back to the States.
Great rum.
But a lot of the brass players and some other players ended up by the pool finishing all those extra bottles of rum that night.
That's what we heard. No, but that
talk about the music and the choirs.
Yeah,
and all
one
that.
of the most amazing things about that trip, and this tour was very different from all the rest. But what we did was we got a firsthand look at the El Sistema program, and people had come from all over the country, not just the flagship orchestra that Gustavo conducts and tours with around the world, but smaller organizations, younger organizations, all conducted by other conductors. Or, for instance, we were ushered into, in one period of 3 hours, we heard a gigantic orchestra play the last movement of Tchaikovsky Fourth Symphony, all from memory. there were so many of them jammed onto one stage. Remember this? That they didn't even have room for music stands. Just everybody giving their all.
Incredible. They put tears in everybody's eyes. It was
Not a dry eye.
and
in the
after
house.
that, they ran across the street without any cases of cellos and violins in their hands to the bus, you know, taking
We
them
saw
back.
that, and then we walked out and we heard an a cappella group of about 8 or 10 people, each one just challenged in their own way. One was blind, you know, so all kinds of things. They were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, talking about choirs, the purpose of this trip was to do the entire Mahler Symphony, you know, all of them in conjunction with the local Bolivar Orchestra.
Yeah.
And for Mahler 8, the final one, Symphony of 1,000, we actually combined forces with that orchestra, and there were literally 1,000 people in the choir behind us. I mean, it was insane.
And the two combined
We
orchestras.
had bleachers and everywhere. It was, and we'd go in there early in the morning to rehearse, and this choir had been there since 6 in the morning practicing, and they would practice scales and arpeggios. And we walked in there, you see 1,000 people belting out scales. It was just an insane experience.
I have videos of that warm up.
These are choirs from all around Venezuela that were all brought together for this performance. So.
Yeah, that trip was unbelievable. Yeah. And and then many times we've traveled to London and Paris, and you know, and we're very, very fortunate. We always stay in nice hotels and, you know, play in the most memorable and beautiful historic halls. But you can't help but be really, really affected by that trip to Venezuela. It was like nothing we'd ever experienced.
So it's as you're describing that, it's the joy of this music that is coming across from you, and that's going to give me a nice segue to this Bartok piece and to when we've played together, because the joy. I mean, we go back a long way. Joanne's played with us all the time, of course, and then Gavin also, but it's the joy from with all the musicians that we have when we're playing with each other. And so here Jihei, of course, is a primary joy motivator. So here we have you and Gavin, you two, and Jihei and Bob van Sice. And it's the Bartok, we haven't mentioned this yet, it's the Bartok Sonata for two pianos
and percussion.
And percussion. So Gavin's checking his stocks there, because you know sell.
Yeah, too late. Yeah, too late.
So tell us about that. Tell us about the piece. Tell us about your rehearsal process, and what a great piece. Oh, and I did make some notes that it was premiered in 1937 by the husband and wife team.
Second wife. Yeah.
Gavin, come on, get up here, man. It's not too late. It's not too late, man. I'll book you.
I think with Joanne it would be more the second husband.
No. We have to. It'll be in a historically informed performance. So that's what it'll be. So,
hey.
no. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, that must have been a fun process. You four?
Yeah. I mean, Jihei and Bob, and it's such an incredible piece. It's generally quite the project to put it together. Really, it's no small feat. But the piano writing, so intricate, and the percussionists, you know, 2 players, but there are I think 7 instruments that they both are running around trying to cover, you know, at various different times, and it's just very intricate rhythmically. But a lot of people might think of percussion, you know, not camerata audiences, but some people don't realize the subtleties that can be involved with percussion. And Bartok was very particular in his writing. He talked about, you know, every type of mallet or stick to be used by the percussionist, even what part of an instrument to play on, you know, all these things that maybe your average Joe doesn't think about, you know. for percussionists.
And pianos are essentially percussion instruments too.
Correct, correct. And one thing that I thought would be fun to do sometime is also Bartok later on made a version for these 4 players with orchestra.
Yeah.
And it was a few years later, I think he got talked into it. And he and the second wife also played that. But that would be fun to do sometime. In some ways, I think it'd probably be even more difficult. But with Jihei and Bob, I mean, we worked quite solidly for a short period, you know, because people travel, you know, to play at Camerata and come and stay and have this very intense experience in a short period of time. So this piece is intense, and that's what the experience is like. But it's, as you say, joyous to perform. And a lot of that joy comes from sharing great music with our audiences too. I never, ever forget that. And this is an example of the kind of piece that can do that.
It's, you know, first performance of the Camerata was December 3rd, 1990, and there are people in our audience who've been in just about every concert, every season since then. So the Camerata audience is a special audience.
They are.
These concert things, there are many silver linings that are going to come out of this COVID experience, and this digital platform has become something delightful. I don't see it disappearing once I see it complementing what we're going to be doing live. So
I agree. That's
all
great.
right. Well, any final comments before we go to the piece?
I'm sorry that Jihei and Bob couldn't be with us too,
Yes.
and sending them lots of love.
All right. Well, so you did admonish me to keep this moving because you're eager to get into your pool, I understand, right? Was I not meant to say something about that? Sorry. So I won't ask if you've got any trousers on. I'll presume that you're getting ready to go in the pool.
You'll never know.
No comment.
To start your new year, the Camerata part of the new year off right. Here we have Joanne, Gavin, Martin, Jihei Jung, Bob van Sice, and the Bartok Sonata for 2 pianos and percussion in a recording from September 16th, 2016.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Enjoy. Bye. Bye.